Today's problem is stagflation. And here are the 11 non-perishable foods we need to stockpile to avoid going hungry during a crisis. Yes, my friends, before we begin, I'd like to ask you a question. If the supplies at the grocery stores around you ran out tomorrow morning, not forever, just for 2 weeks, how long could you actually feed your family with the items currently in your pantry? When most people ask themselves this question, my friends, many say about 3 days. 3 days. This isn't a criticism. It's the reality of food stockpiles in modern homes. That's exactly why this video exists. And why you're listening to me right now. What I'm going to show you isn't an apocalypse list. It's not about fear. It's about something much more practical. Knowing which foods can truly protect you during crises, which ones can benefit you in ways you've never considered, and that a single food item found in most kitchens is likely the most underrated survival asset on the planet. We're moving from the useful to the legendary 11 foods. By the time we get to number 4, you'll be looking at your pantry with a whole new perspective. I promise, friends. Lentils take the 11th spot on our list. My friends, small, seemingly ordinary, the food item we most often overlook in serious long-term food planning. When stored dry in airtight containers, lentils, my friends, retain their full nutritional value for up to 30 years. You heard that right, a full 30 years. No need for a refrigerator for 30 years. And aside from keeping them dry, no special treatment is required. However, longevity is just one of the qualities that makes lentils extraordinary. My friends, lentils contain significant amounts of plant-based protein, complex carbohydrates, dietary fiber, and iron. In situations where reliable access to fresh meat is impossible, lentils no longer take a back seat and become a critical primary protein source. They also cook faster than most dried legumes, which is a significant advantage when fuel or time is limited. My friends, this is exactly what constantly catches people off guard. Lentils have an almost neutral base flavor. This might seem like a limitation. In fact, it's one of the greatest strengths of lentils on this entire list. They absorb the flavors around them more effectively than almost any other staple food on this list. Add a bouillon cube, a spoonful of canned tomatoes, a pinch of spice. The result will be a truly satisfying, layered meal. Soups, stews, grain bowls, meatballs all are naturally built around lentils. A shelf life of 30 years, exceptional nutritional density, adaptable to almost any flavor profile. The quiet, steadfast star of this list. So, my friend, have you ever looked at lentils from this perspective? Be honest, your answer isn't no, is it? In 10th place on our list is powdered milk. My friends, powdered milk faces an image problem that causes most people to completely overlook it. It is seen as a poor substitute for real milk. Here's the point that this perception overlooks. When stored under proper conditions in a cool, dry and sealed container, skim milk powder retains all its nutritional value for 20 years or longer. My friends, don't mistake this for the estimated shelf life listed on a package. Food science research confirms this unequivocally. For 20 years, it provides a continuous supply of calcium, protein, vitamin B12, and vitamin D to the body without needing to be refrigerated. My friends, add water to create a functional milk that you can use for coffee, cereal, baking, soups, and sauces. The taste difference compared to fresh milk is real, and we have to be honest about that. However, in a real crisis, what matters is nutritional value, calories, and availability. Powdered milk performs well in all 3 areas. My friends, one simple step that makes a real difference. After opening, transfer the contents to a Mylar bag containing an oxygen absorber or a properly airtight container. This single action significantly extends the product's shelf life, ensuring it remains at its highest quality. 20 years of reliable nutritional value. No refrigeration required. Much more versatile in the kitchen than you might think. So, my friends, don't just brush it off as powdered milk. It's actually an indispensable food. In 9th place on our list is coffee, an indispensable part of our lives. My friends, in my opinion, this might be the most psychologically significant food on the entire list. And this is no mere observation. Friends, instant coffee isn't exactly something that would win an award for its complexity. Anyone who takes their coffee seriously already knows this. However, this judgment overlooks a point that's easily missed in a crisis situation. When daily routines collapse, familiar reference points disappear, and everything around you becomes uncertain. A cup of coffee carries a weight that has almost nothing to do with caffeine. It's small, it's familiar. In the midst of an abnormal situation, it's something that makes you feel like it's just another ordinary day. This psychological anchor is truly valuable and is rarely quantified in any preparation guide. Practically speaking, vacuum-sealed instant coffee retains its effectiveness for 20 years or longer. My friends, all you need is hot water. No equipment, grinding, or filter is needed. It takes less than 2 minutes for a product sitting on the shelf to turn into a hot, familiar drink in your hand. Caffeine itself also provides functional value. It supports alertness, helps you focus under stress, and its mild appetite-suppressing effect can significantly extend your food supply during times of scarcity. There are very few products on this list where emotional value and practical value align so well. Don't underestimate this, and you absolutely must have instant coffee in your pantry. So, my friends, who has enough instant coffee in their stash? Let's meet in the comments and move on to the next item. Yes, friends, those flavor-enhanced bouillon cubes are making their way onto our list. But before we get to that, I want you to close your eyes. Imagine it's the 4th day of eating nothing but plain rice and lentils. My friends, you're not hungry. Your body is actually getting what it needs. But something harder to define than physical hunger is quietly bothering you. Flavor fatigue. The psychological toll of eating the same bland meal over and over. In prolonged emergencies, this is one of the most consistently underestimated stress factors. Friends, and one of the least discussed. Now add a bouillon cube. Single small cube dissolved in the same bowl of water transforms the entire experience. A rich, layered, flavorful depth that wasn't there before. The calorie count barely changes. The nutritional profile is nearly the same, but the meal now actually feels like a meal. You can taste the difference. Bouillon cubes offer concentrated flavor in a package that weighs almost nothing, lasts 5 to 10 years under reasonable storage conditions, and costs nearly nothing per unit. Essentially, with zero additional cost, weight, or storage space. It enhances the dining experience of every grain, legume, and canned vegetable in your pantry. A small cube, a massive difference. It truly deserves its place, and if you're a foodie, it's an absolute must-have in your pantry. My friends, oats take the 7th spot on our list. Oats may seem ordinary, my friends. We tend to view them as a food that takes a back seat. This perception works against oats because the reality is quite different. When stored in airtight containers and kept in cool, dry conditions, oats remain fully edible for 30 years or longer. This places them in the same rare category as white rice and lentils foods, with truly long shelf lives that most people seriously underestimate. In terms of nutritional value, oats are quite rich. They are high in soluble fiber, contain significant amounts of iron and B vitamins, have high protein levels for a grain, and are calorie-dense without being heavy. My friends, for breakfast, which sets the energy tone for the rest of the day, oats provide an exceptional foundation. Its versatility is equally remarkable. Warm oatmeal, compact energy bars, a thickener for soups and stews, a meal that can be eaten without cooking by mixing with dried fruit and a spoonful of honey. When an energy source isn't available, it's affordable when bought in bulk. It's lightweight, no refrigeration required. It has a shelf life of 30 years and still performs as expected. So, friends, do you only consume this while working out, or do you keep a sufficient supply in your food stash? Yes, friends, canned meats come in at number 6. When fresh protein sources run out. Friends, and during serious supply shortages, fresh protein is usually the first category to run out. Canned meats immediately fill that gap. Tuna, chicken, sardines, salmon, fully cooked, vacuum-sealed, and ready to eat the moment you open the can. No preparation needed, no need to refrigerate, and no waiting, either. Friends, most canned meats can be safely stored for 5 to 10 years, depending on the product and storage conditions. The vacuum sealing and heat sterilization process stops biological spoilage from the very first day. Canned goods stored under proper conditions generally remain safe for much longer than the expiration date printed on the can. My friends, they are nutrient-dense and rich in nutrients. High protein, high calorie density, especially sardines and salmon, contain significant amounts of omega-3 fatty acids. When your food options are limited and your body is constantly exposed to physical or mental stress, my friends, this nutritional density becomes critically important in ways that might seem like an abstract concept until you actually need it. Its versatility is also consistently underestimated. Canned chicken blends seamlessly into rice dishes without overpowering them. Tuna can be used in almost any grain-based dish. Sardines, once you get used to them, provide more nutrients per calorie than almost any other food on this list. So, friends, Do you have enough of these items stocked in your pantry? Let's discuss in the comments. And then there are cooking oils. My friends, this is a category that most people overlook when preparing long-term food supplies. It's also the factor that determines the difference between a plan that keeps you alive and one that truly nourishes you. My friends, a diet consisting of grains, legumes, and canned vegetables sustains basic bodily functions. However, without fat, your body cannot absorb vitamins A, D, E, or K. Unfortunately, all four of these vitamins are fat-soluble. All four are essential. Under physical stress, you cannot reach the calorie density your body needs. No matter how much you eat, the food won't feel satisfying after a few days. My friends, fat is not optional in human nutrition. It is essential. Plant-based oils and olive oil stored in a cool, dark place generally remain usable for 2 to 3 years. Get pure butter with the milk solids removed. Performs much better, my friends. Thanks to its low moisture content and natural stability, it lasts much longer without needing to be refrigerated, and is ideal for high-heat cooking without spoiling. Fat provides 9 calories per gram, compared to the 4 calories per gram provided by fats, proteins, or carbohydrates. Friends, in any situation where calorie efficiency matters, this density is far more important than most people realize until they find themselves having to manage a limited supply. This is the difference between merely surviving and truly nourishing yourself over time. So, friends, have you ever looked at this food from this perspective? Number 4 on the list is freeze-dried canned fruit. My friends, when fresh produce disappears from the shelves, my friends, the void it leaves behind is greater than most people realize. It matters not only in terms of nutritional value, but also emotionally. Fruits provide vitamins, natural sugars, antioxidants, and something else that's harder to measure, but just as important: variety. Eating the same delicious meals day after day for weeks on end eventually becomes a problem in itself. My friends, during prolonged shortages, variety isn't a luxury, it's a direct factor in how sustainable the situation feels on a daily basis. Freeze-dried fruits retain much of their nutritional value and flavor, and when stored properly, their shelf life can reach up to 25 years. You can eat them as is, soak them in water, mix them into oatmeal, or use them in baking. My friends, canned fruits typically last 3 to 5 years. In the context of long-term supply, they're more accessible, more affordable, and offer a truly different taste experience. My friends, the word different carries more weight than it appears. When everything starts to taste the same, it's usually something truly different that keeps people psychologically balanced. My friends, third on our list, MREs were created for a single specific purpose. My friends, to feed a soldier in active combat. No prep time, no equipment, no access to clean water, no margin for error. Above all, this requirement alone makes them a powerful option. Each MRE is a complete, self-contained meal in a single durable pouch: main course, side dish, snack, condiments, dessert, and sometimes a drink mix. Many include a flameless heater that warms the meal through a simple chemical reaction without an external heat source. My friends, in any case, you get a hot meal from that single pouch. When stored at moderate temperatures, MREs remain usable for 5 to 10 years. In colder conditions, this duration extends. Friends, they are compact, portable, and equally functional in an emergency kit or on a shelf. The nutritional design is carefully and comprehensively crafted, tailored for individuals working under physical stress. Friends, these are exactly the conditions where you'll truly need an MRE, when convenience, portability, and complete nutrition must all be provided by a single product at the same time. Mr. E's deliver without compromise. Friends, if we've managed to teach you something so far, don't forget to follow us and give us a like. Friends, yes, my friends, wheat grains come in second place. Unprocessed, whole wheat grains, a food that most people walk right past without a second glance. My friends, don't overlook them. Here's the real reason wheat grains are different from flour. Friends, flour goes stale. The milling process causes each grain to break apart, exposing the oils inside to oxygen. These oils oxidize within a few months. Under typical home storage conditions, the shelf life of most flours is measured in months, not years. This is not a problem with whole wheat kernels. My friends, the sturdy outer husk protects everything inside. When properly stored in airtight containers in a cool environment, whole wheat kernels remain fully usable for 30 years or longer, and can be ground into fresh flour. Read that again, my friends. 30 years on the shelf, then grind them. fresh flour from grain that's been stored for 30 years. This isn't just a theoretical concept. When wheat grains are stored properly, they truly behave this way, my friends. Additionally, they can be eaten directly after cooking, and when soaked overnight and simmered over low heat, they can be transformed into a grain that's easy to chew and satisfying, perfect for salads, oatmeal, and soups. More texture than pre-ground flour, more nutrients, more depth. For those looking to build a serious long-term stockpile, this is one of the most consistently overlooked items on the list. So, friends, don't miss out on this. Go check your pantries. Alright friends, here we are at number 1 on our list, a unique treat found in every home. But friends, if you watched this video from start to finish expecting something old-fashioned, exotic, or technically sophisticated at the top of the list, what's coming up next might really surprise you. Right now, there's probably a jar of it in most kitchens. It's already open, maybe half empty. It's just sitting there, completely overlooked. Here it is. My friends, peanut butter. There isn't just one reason, it's number 1. It's the combination of all these factors coming together. Let's start with its nutritional value and benefits. Friends, 2 tablespoons provide approximately 190 calories, 8 grams of protein, and healthy unsaturated fats that support cardiovascular function. It aids in the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and provides significant amounts of magnesium, niacin, vitamin E, and potassium. It offers concentrated, functional nutritional value in a compact and affordable format. My friends, then there's shelf life. An unopened jar lasts much longer than the date printed on it. The low moisture content and high fat content leave almost no room for bacteria to grow. No need to refrigerate. No need for Mylar bags. No need for oxygen absorbers. No need for special storage. The original jar sits on the shelf, ready and waiting for you when you need it. Friends, then there's a factor that seems trivial, but actually isn't. No preparation required. Open the jar. Eat. No water, heat, or equipment needed. When you're dealing with a real crisis and your mental capacity is already stretched thin, foods that demand nothing from you become far more valuable than they seem when everything is going smoothly. Their versatility only enhances all of this. They can be spread on crackers, mixed into oatmeal, blended with powdered milk to create a high-calorie protein mix. It's mixed with rice. When you have nothing else left, you eat it straight from the jar, my friends. It gets the job done effortlessly, in an almost unbelievable range of situations. But here's what really makes it number 1. Close your eyes and imagine the second week of a real crisis. Plain rice and lentils twice a day. You're not hungry. You're being fed. But the meals have become a silent psychological burden in and of themselves. Every bowl is a small, quiet reminder of just how limited the situation has become. No one says it out loud. Everyone in the house feels it. Then you open a jar of peanut butter. You take a spoonful, and something truly changes. It doesn't taste like food you're eating just to survive. You taste it as if it was something you'd choose on an ordinary day. My friends, in a time when almost nothing feels normal, that single spoonful of food carries a weight far beyond its caloric value. In prolonged crises, morale is no trivial matter. As conditions continue to exert pressure, morale directly affects judgment, emotional resilience, and the ability to maintain order. Foods that actively support morale are not a luxury, my friends. This is a functional value that the other 10 items on this list simply can't match. Crispy or smooth, natural or classic, it doesn't matter. Keep it sealed. Store it. Keep it on your shelf. That's why it's number 1. And frankly, nothing on this list even comes close. Every product here was chosen for one reason, my friends. They really come in handy when things go wrong. Not because of trends, not because of marketing, because these are foods that hold up when everything else becomes uncertain. Now, friends, which of these surprised you the most? Which ones are already in your pantry, and which ones will you add as soon as possible? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one, and your answers really shape what happens next on this channel. Friends, stock up. Rotate your supplies. Store the foods you'll actually eat during critical moments. The best time to build a durable food stockpile is before you need it. The second best time is right now. Come on, friends. I'm waiting for your comments.
Which means they're